Hello, everyone, and welcome to Voices of Hult, to this new episode. Today's guest is Dev, one of a student here in Hult, Boston, and one of the youngest student, if not the youngest, for the MBA cohort. He's from India, and let you introduce yourself, Dev. Welcome to Voices of
Hult, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for having me here. I'm super excited to be here. So yeah, I am one of the youngest, probably the youngest MBA at the Boston campus. And
so how old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay.
And the average class age, I believe, is about 33, 34.
Okay.
If I'm not wrong.
Feeling old now.
Oh yeah, trust me. Initial few days were a little bit like that for me in class when I just walked in and I saw everyone with so many years of experience and I was just like, do I want to be here?
Okay.
But I'm from India. I've worked with KPMG before coming to Hult for my MBA. And I completed my undergrad in India as well. My undergrad was in financial markets. So it was a little bit of changing tracks. I went from learning everything about financial markets to then getting into risk consulting at KPMG.
Yeah, that's a different. That's a change, huh?
Yeah, and I did that for 3.5 years. But quite honestly, I love that every aspect of it. So advising, consulting. Once I started, that's where I knew that that's what I would want to continue in.
Nice.
You were also doing some sports back home, right?
Oh yeah,
I used to tell us about it.
I used to play cricket. I'm not sure if all of the audience would be aware of with the sport of cricket, but I am still a cricket enthusiast. In fact, as soon as I landed in Boston, within the first 1 week, I've gone to play tournaments and matches across Boston.
That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, the love for the sport never dies, right? Even though it's not a very popular sport here in the United States, back at home, cricket is considered to be a religion altogether. So it's huge.
And being Boston, a sports city, right?
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Exactly.
They do everything here.
Exactly.
You have the Red Sox, you have all of them.
Exactly, and here to close to Hult, Boston, we do have the TD Garden when you can just go for the weekend or even just a normal day of the week for a match and see the Celtics. Yes. Rafa's roommate is always there, and even recently, actually, we went to Fenway Park actually there was an event organized by Hult to see the Red Sox as well. So Boston has got so many sports. It's a city recognized for the sports, and I'm sure that Boston has got a cricket team there.
It's growing.
Nice.
It's going to be getting big, I believe, in the next couple of months. There's a whole league which is coming up in the United States for the sport of cricket.
When is it starting?
I think it's about 150 days from today. So 3.5.
And counting.
And counting.
Nice. But you said before that, so you are one of the youngest MBA student. Yeah. And so that's the master in business administration.
Correct.
And you said that you are with classmates that do have a lot of experience. But before you were saying to us as well that you worked with KPMG, which is a very well-known firm. And you had several roles there as well. But then you jumped here in the MBA here in Hult. How come? How was the process?
So I've always wanted to do the MBA course. For me, it's just something which gives you so much of exposure, gets you so much to learn with the different set of business challenges we have. We have 5 business challenges throughout the 1-year course.
Nice.
Which is quite a lot, right? You're doing case studies on daily basis in class, your assignments, all of that. And that's something that I've always wanted to expose myself to. And going from KPMG to getting my MBA over here, the transition was, I would say, it was very smooth for me. It was a no-brainer. Because when I saw the curriculum, when I saw the academic structure of Hult, the way they go about it, it was more of a practical approach rather than a theoretical approach. So for me, I'm someone who would want to do things practically, learn things practically, do case studies, throw myself into the waters and then test it for myself, rather than just learning something that has been given in some book somewhere.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Hult offers to all the students is the hands-on approach. And I think that's what everyone here is looking to have in their experience. And you've been an MBA student. I think you are doing case studies all the time, and you are doing the business challenge all the time.
Yeah.
And they're basically, it's just like working. So
Yeah.
moving from KPMG, which is working in a consulting firm, to doing an MBA, which has basically been working all the time. I mean, that's why maybe the transition was super smooth.
Yeah.
And I believe as well that with the business challenges, you definitely are in the working environment. You do have a team that you did not choose, and there you have to deliver a project in a very short period of time, and it has to be professional, it has to be precise, there has so much research behind it that I'm assuming that you have done all of this work as well in KPMG. And working in such business challenges is most of the time you can work directly with companies, and you can add those projects inside maybe your LinkedIn, but as well in your CV, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the beauty of it is you're working with a team, which, as you very rightly mentioned, you've not picked that team.
Correct.
You don't know who these people are, but all of them have such diverse backgrounds that there's someone who always has something to contribute, which you possibly could never even think of. You're always going to get that third point of view, which when you hear it, you're like, wow, that sounds amazing, but I never thought of it. So let's do it that way. And then coming and developing a whole project around with these different point of views in 4 to 5 days of the business challenge that you get. That's the ideal time frame that you get for a business challenge. And then delivering that is something that is incredible because the first one that we had was a simulation by the Howard Business School. The second one was a case study by Howard Business School. Then we had some case study which was by MIT. So it's just, there are so many different things that you're getting exposure to. There's diversity, and then you have to work alongside the people that you have been given, because you don't get to pick that, hey, I don't want to work with this one, because in life you're not going to get that either, right? You're just going to have people around you, and you have to work your way around it.
Yes.
And talking about diversity and working with people from all around the world, I guess you were aware you were coming to that. Was this the first time you were exposed to this international experience, or how you got interested into it?
So that was the second thing that stood out about Hult for me. I've had some experience like this before coming to Hult. So I was representing India at the Global Youth Leadership Summit, which is done by the Anthony Robbins Foundation. It happens at the University of San Diego in California every year. So I attended that in 2013 and 2015 as a kid. And that was my first time having an experience with so many diverse cultures.
So how old were you at that time?
I think because you just said when I was a kid, and I was like, well, I was done with high school already. I was already in college back then.
No, I think
That was my age.
I was like, well.
I think in 2013 I was about 14 years old, if I'm not wrong, when I went there. And
So
then-
the youngest of the MBAs and the youngest maybe representing their country there in San Diego. I see.
Possibly.
I see.
And then I was just so thrilled by that experience as well that I didn't want to let go of it. So hence I went back in 2015 again to represent my country. And then I was just like, I pretty much got obsessed with it, with the leadership styles that we learned there. So in 2016 to 2019, these 3 years, we brought the event to come and happen in India, in the city of Mumbai.
So you host the event. So you took the event from San Diego
Yes.
to India for 3 years.
Pretty much. It wasn't me by
Yeah, but
myself.
you were hosting
but
it there.
Yeah. We had great support from the Anthony Robbins Foundation, who was willing to do it. And that's how we brought it to India.
That's
Nice.
exciting.
So that seems to me like a lot of leadership behind this project. And we know that you're part, or better, you're the vice president of a Hult Leadership Club. What is it about? What's the mission? What's the goal of this club?
You're right. So I'm the mentor and the vice president of the Hult Leadership Club. It was started by a bunch of undergrads. All that they really want is to learn, right? And I think that's sort of a platform for specifically the undergraduates. I mean, of course, it's open to the postgrads as well. But for the undergraduates to find mentors for themselves to find those leaders who they can look up to in their real life, and just not someone, or I mean, I can look up to leaders who are like Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah.
He's a leader. Everyone looks up to him. But who is someone I can reach out to on an individual level and connect with on an individual level that, hey, you know what, Rafael, I really look up to you, and I'm facing this particular thing in my life, and what do you think about it? What is your point of view on it?
Nice.
Because you would have had like 5 years of extra experience compared to that undergrad kid, right, who is really just hungry to learn.
So for all the undergrads and postgrads listening to Dev, you are more than invited to join the leadership club here in Hult Boston.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're gonna find all these mentoring and leaders that can guide you through your professional and like I don't know, like personal experiences, I would say.
Personal, professional, whatever it is. I mean, we have professionals coming in for panel discussions. I have a bunch of friends who have made it coming in from BCG, from Amazon, just to come and talk to these kids.
Of course, and I actually believe that this attitude of giving back from what you have learned from KPMG and all the different works that you have done, all the different experiences that you have done, it's very nice in the sense that to give back to the community, to Hult community, and for people, undergrads that maybe don't have that experience. And sometimes, you know, they just like, as you were saying, look abstractively to someone and say, oh, okay, I want to become like that person. Okay, how? What are the concrete steps to become like that, you know? So that's very interesting what you're doing.
So now we're talking about your life in Boston, but I wanted to ask you why you choose Hult Boston and not other campus.
That's a critical question.
Because
like,
there's a lot of people like,
exactly.
oh, there's like London,
Yeah.
there's like San Francisco,
Yeah.
like Dubai. Why Boston?
I would say it was a very strategic move for myself on an individual level. As I mentioned, KPMG was great consulting and advisory experience for me. And I knew that is the domain that is the industry that I want to continue in professionally.
Consulting, right?
In consulting. And then when I look at the other campuses, San Fran I wouldn't say it doesn't have consulting exposure. It does, but not as much as Boston, right? You have BCG, you're based right out of the city of Boston. You have McKinsey, you have a bunch of consulting companies. And I would say the East Coast of the United States is more primarily dominant with financial and consulting businesses compared to the West Coast. West Coast is all about tech.
Correct.
I wouldn't say all, but like
I do
most
agree
of it.
with that, yes.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, like, I believe that every single area of the country is specialized in a specific part.
Exactly.
Therefore, like, the West Coast and the East Coast, of course, differentiate themselves from what you want. For example, here in Boston, it's very well known for consulting, but even for health and for education as well. Like, it's a beautiful city full of different university colleges. So, yeah, San Francisco, which I'm gonna move soon, hopefully is gonna be as beautiful as the city.
Definitely, yes. So you decided Boston because you were aiming to a specific company here. You were just like, I want to be in the consulting city.
I mean, before I moved here, I was very, I would say, shadowed by BCG. That's the place that I want to be working at. But then once I came here, I reached out to people, started networking all by myself. And that's when I found out that, hey, it's just not BCG. There are so many amazing companies out here. And then you get your pick. I'm not saying it's like, oh, I want to work in this company and it'll happen. You, of course, need to work for it. Put in the effort, put in the time, reach out to people on an individual level rather than just putting in a job application. And then I think you in that journey, in that path, you'll end up finding that, hey, this is really the place that I want.
There are more places. It's not just Boston. Probably New York also have different options, which is like a really good city for consulting too.
Absolutely. Like a personal experience that I had, someone I reached out to on LinkedIn was kind enough to reply back to me. She was working with one of the, I would say, top 3 companies for consulting in Boston. And just while I connected with her, she had a transition in her job role, and now she's working as a director for the same consulting firm, but now based out of New York. Nice. So like you just have to put in that extra mile of reaching out to people. And there are really amazing people out there who will be more than willing to help you out.
Okay, so now we talked before that you're a coach, that you're like mentoring UGs, and you have started, maybe not here in Boston, but you every single day, at least as you were sharing with us, you try to network with people either in person here in campus, outside in Boston, on LinkedIn. What would be like your tips that you would give like to everyone to reach out, for example, on LinkedIn or to network?
I would say keep it simple. That's it. Because there's no point of complicating.
notes.
Yeah, there's no point of complicating stuff, right? It's if I really look up to your LinkedIn and I'm like, okay, he has 3 things that I really want to learn more about, know more about. I'm curious about it. Just drop in a message that, hey, Rafael, I'd really love to know more about these 3 things that you've done because they're super interesting to me on an individual level. And if you have some time, we'd love to catch up about it. I'm not saying you won't get rejections. You will. Trust me, I've gone through, I don't know, hundreds of rejections, no replies, all of that. But then there are going to be people on the other hand who have all of this experience and they're willing to share. They're willing to, guide you through it because they understand that at some point of their lives, they were in your shoes. They've gone through this path themselves. So they're more than willing to guide you through it. So just make sure you're reaching out to the right set of people. And when I say the right set, I mean individually on a personal level, right set of people for you. Someone who's right for me might not be right for you,
Correct.
Yeah.
and vice versa.
And
and
what's a loss, by the way?
Yeah,
Like,
and I think we have like really good career advisors here that will tell you how to approach the people, how to actually find these specific people you need to reach out to get, I don't know, like in a specific field that you're trying to get to. But yeah, I think it's real when you try to reach a lot of people and you just don't get replies. How do you manage that frustration? Because I mean,
I
you
believe
get
that you don't have to
frustrated.
take it personal and
course.
just saying, okay, if he did or she did not reply to me, I would try with someone else that has got more or less the same characteristics, the same aspects,
Yeah.
and then move
Pretty
on, I
much.
would say.
I agree with Lydia. It's on the lines of you can't keep on being dejected by every rejection you get. It can't be like, oh, this person didn't reply back to me even though I was really curious about them. It's fine. That's life. It's always going to happen, right?
I think it only takes one person to reply to like, you know what?
Exactly.
100 messages were worth it.
yes, exactly.
Trust me, the number of times that has happened personally for me is mind blowing because that one person has replied and I've been like, oh, you know what? I'm hooked to this. I want to know more about this. They're willing to help. And then when you go through that entire process of getting the help, on the other hand, you're just like, oof, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
That was one message. That's all that it took.
Yeah, exactly. And well, now that I'm sure that you receive a lot of questions from UGs, from the undergrads, from people that might be, taking you as an example after looking at your LinkedIn and
Based
your
on your
professional.
experience.
Exactly. Now we do have a question for you from our previous guest, and the question is: when you were 5 years old, what were you telling people you wanted to be when you grew up?
Okay, that
I'm curious now.
I love that question. I mentioned the sport of cricket, right? So,
Yeah.
Since I was a kid, I always used to play that. I love the sport. I adore it. It's something that has helped me build my personality, my characteristics as a person. It just taught me so much, whether it's rejections, whether it's just having faith, whether it's believing in yourself, whether it's backing yourself in whatever circumstances you are put in. So I always used to tell people that I want to become a cricketer one day. I did work on those lines. I did play for the district level. I did continue playing for however long I could. Got into some injuries, had to drop off from the sport for a few years. And then few years down the line, I wanted to stay associated with the sport. So through the guidelines of the entire leadership thing that I did, I found a life coach who used to coach these players, these cricketing players back in India during the Indian Premier League. And I started working alongside him. So I got into these cricketing teams in a coaching position rather than a playing position.
Yeah, exactly.
So that dream was like
Yeah,
was very concrete. So
Yeah, it was.
You were not just saying it.
It
you were just, you know what,
You were
I'm
walking the
pursuing
talk.
my dream. Yeah, but no, I do agree with you when you say like sports really teach you a lot.
It does.
In Italian, or better, in Latin, we do have a saying that it's mens sana in corpore sano. Now, shout out to my dad because that's like actually he
Mente
told
sana
me
in
that.
corpo sano, I would
Mens
say.
sana in corpore sano. That means like a healthy mind in a healthy body. So
Right.
like you have to balance it too, you know? You can't just study, go to classes all day, but you even have to have that sport aspects that will teach you as well how to, you know, soft skills that will enable you to succeed even on the career, on a personal path.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Even today, just before coming to record a podcast, we were doing yoga.
Yes.
And we literally
Exactly.
set the time on the day on our busy
Yeah.
schedule to our bodies, even it's meditating or every whatever kind of like maybe just go for a jog or
Yeah.
something. I think it's super important
I
to
Yeah.
agree.
have this moment for your body
Exactly.
that actually like relieve your mind too.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, that for me works perfect.
Exactly.
It's-
Rafa have already done it, but for me it was the first time that I'm starting yoga and setting that hour, because it's just 1 hour per day, like not per day, but per week. That is just like stopping the moment of the day and let you recenter what are your priorities, what are you doing right now, what are you going to do in the future, what are, you know, remapping everything where you are. It's very important.
And it's cool, sorry, that Hult is offering these yoga
Yeah,
classes
yeah.
for free
Oh yes, they are.
here on campus.
I
So
keep
it's like,
I keep on checking all of your Instagram stories where you're going for the yoga classes, and I'm like, all right
are we
then.
global ambassadors by any chance?
Doing a great job here.
Undoubtedly, yeah. But I agree with both of you all. I think sports is such an underrated aspect of everyone's individual growth, just not life, but like growth of a personality. Where I think just at least dedicate some part of your day, some part of your life to it, because it helps you learn so many things that you won't learn out there in the world.
Yeah. So what were you, Rafa, saying to the people?
I always, and I remember this super clear, I was saying two things.
Yeah.
I was jumping between those two. I was saying that I wanted to be like a firefighter. And I even remember that I think when I was like 17 or something, I applied to be a firefighter in the station around my place. And my mom was like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I want to be a firefighter.
Saving the world.
Yeah. And I got rejected. They told me like, man, you're too busy. Like, when are you planning to come to work here? And I was like, I'll make the time. And they're like, you're working, you're studying. Like, when? And I was like, don't worry about that. They were like, you need time for your life. And that's why I got rejected.
They did you a favor, man.
And I also was saying that I wanted to be a doctor.
Nice.
And I was always watching these ER like shows and stuff. And I was like, well, I gotta be there.
You know that Grey's Anatomy is not much about a doctor,
I figured
right?
out afterwards that was not the real life. So then I was like,
Exactly.
well, I'm gonna do marketing. Yeah.
No, whereas
You?
I actually always said that I wanted to become an astronaut because my biggest dream is to learn how to fly. I mean, like when I was 5 years old, I was just like dreaming of going and flying and be, you know. And then I was like, okay, if I can fly all over the Earth, I want to fly all over the space, you know. And then I was like, well, in that case, I might need, you know, a proper jacket. So NASA will know it.
Yeah.
And yeah. So, but I chose marketing at the end because they didn't get me a NASA, I guess.
Well, NASA needs someone to market for them, and what better bunch of people to have, right?
NASA, if you're listening to this podcast,
You have to
reach
hire
out to
both
me.
of them. Both of them.
Let me just send an application right now. But yeah, and as we're coming to an end of our episode, what would be then your next question for our guest?
My next question would be, if there is one emotion that you can leave this world with, what would that be? What is that one impactful emotion for you that you think will affect everyone around you in a positive way?
Deep.
it's deep.
Deep.
But it's super easy for me to reply with that.
What would that be?
I would say happiness.
Oh.
Like, I love to spread happiness. I'm the
Yeah.
type of person that walks into school like, hi, everyone. And they're like, why are you so happy every day? And I'm like, why not? Like, I'm alive, you know?
Yeah.
And that, I think that taking or making someone smile during the day, that's my mission every day. Like, even if I just say hi to a baby, just walking down the street and they smile back, I'm like, mission accomplished. I don't know. It's super easy for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
I have to agree with Rafa. Like, I think that happiness is one.
It's so powerful.
Yeah, it's so powerful and can change the perspective of so many people. Like the perspective of how you approach problems, how you approach life, how you approach many different things, and the day seems a little bit easier with a little bit of more with a
Yes.
smile on your face. I would
Just
say.
one good
Yeah.
action
Yeah.
can like make this person days better.
Yeah. What
And
about
if,
you?
If you make that person happy, it's gonna make your
Yeah,
better
happy.
too, yeah.
For me, it's spreading love and kindness. That's
Nice.
always been there. I think just since I started interacting with people in general, I just realized there's so much bad out there, and just a little bit of love, little bit of kindness to every single person you come across. I think that's just it's almost on the lines of happiness,
Yes.
because any amount of love and kindness is always going to
course.
bring about happiness, but just spreading that little bit of it, whatever you can, is going to make such a huge impact and difference to someone you possibly can't even think of. And then it's going to be a cycle, right? They're going to do that for someone else, and then they're going to do that for someone else. So it's just a chain reaction.
I think that's a easy way. Well, I won't say easy, but it's like the right mindset to start changing the world little by little. So I think we're gonna leave everyone with that message.
Let's change the world.
Step by step.
Well, Dev, thank you very much for today. It was amazing having you here.
Yeah.
It was amazing being here. Thank you so much, guys.
It was a pleasure.
Pleasure
Well,
was all mine.
Stay tuned.
Bye bye.